Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Just commenting on the feckless, useless, burdensome, and deceptive, the cruel hoax, bogus sham of the Obama, Dodd-Frank, FinReg. And you can read about the Republicans. You can read about the multiple crimes of Shelby and Saxby Chambliss and Corker and the rest of these clowns, Gregg, all Wall Street puppets. During those hearings, right, pretending that major hedge funds were mom-and-pop stores on Main Street who needed to hedge on, pudding or something like this, instead of these collateralized debt obligations wrapped up in sieves and garnished with credit default swaps. The one Democratic vote against it, and it's very interesting, is Senator Feingold of Wisconsin. Turns out to be the last Democrat in the Senate, I guess, a man for all seasons, voted against this bill. Cantwell was supposedly fighting for Glass-Steagall, but she recanted, so we'll call her Senator Recantwell as a result of her capitulation. But Feingold, if Feingold could do it, anybody can. He's obviously fighting for his political survival against the reactionary Republican, I think his name is Johnson, up there in Wisconsin. So the John Birch legions of reactionary kookery are undoubtedly in Johnson's corner. Feingold voted against the Iraq War. Interesting. Feingold voted against the Patriot Act. He voted against the Wall Street bailout of October 2008, proposed by Bush and Paulson and Bernanke. He voted against the Interstate Banking Act. Very interesting. Too big to fail. Where does too big to fail come from? Well, remember, it used to be impossible for banks to operate in more than one state. Chase Manhattan was limited to New York. Bank of America was in California. They didn't get to be too big to fail because they could only operate in one state. What changed it? The Interstate Banking Act of 1994, another piece of crackpot, Austrian school, Chicago-inspired deregulation that brought on too big to fail. Feingold voted against it. And Feingold also voted against the Graham-Leach-Bliley destruction of Glass-Steagall and free field, free reign for derivatives in 1999. And now he's voted against this. Well, if you were looking for a Democratic presidential candidate, you could do a whole lot worse. And this guy would be serious. This wouldn't be somebody in the league of Kucinich or somebody like this. This would be, again, more in the league of something like Eugene McCarthy, Robert Kennedy, Teddy Kennedy, something like that. So that it certainly deserves observation. The Huffington Post people, the Soros gang over at Huffington Post, is pushing for they're hyping Jeb Bush as the real power inside the Republican Party. Other polling shows Huckabee, Palin, Romney ahead. I am still thinking Petraeus, Romney, Petraeus, Mitch Daniels, but they're saying that Jeb Bush has all the money. It may be now that the Afghanistan war is getting to be so disastrous, with 8 U.S., 4 British, 12 killed in the past 48 hours, that they're despairing whether they can run a warmonger for president. And that, of course, would be Petraeus, the neocon leader. The one thing I do know, we must have a primary challenger to Obama in the Democratic Party, hitting the ground in New Hampshire in January of 2011, anti-war, anti-Wall Street, and if possible, anti-Federal Reserve would be good too. Hard to be anti-Wall Street if you're not anti-Federal Reserve, since Wall Street owns and controls the Federal Reserve, not the other way around, as some people seem to think. So we've got all this going on. The stimulus, what about the stimulus? Well, the stimulus is all gone. I want to know, where's the Erie Canal? Where's the Transcontinental Railroad? Where's the Tennessee Valley Authority? Where's the Interstate Highway System? Where's the rebuilding of U.S. water systems? Water restrictions still in effect in the D.C. suburbs of Maryland. Where are the 1,000 hospitals we need? Where are the nuclear reactors? There's nothing in this stimulus that built infrastructure and capital goods, and therefore it does not lead to a recovery. Instead, Obama is still playing around with his green jobs. Obama guilty of assault and battery. Assault is what we've been following. Battery is he's now on his fourth battery trip. He's going to a factory in Michigan that makes batteries for electric cars. This is the fourth time he's gone to places that make batteries for cars. They've sunk $2.4 billion into batteries. Hopefully, maybe they think they can get the lithium from Afghanistan, based on the Petraeus report of last month. But the estimates are that in the coming years, world capacity to build batteries are going to be 3 times world demand. It's too expensive. Turn away from forms of energy that require government subsidies to exist, or that require the price of oil to be so high that economic activity is strangled. Now, in terms of economic program, one very important issue, the reactionary think tank community, meaning the American Enterprise Institute, the neocons, the Heritage Foundation that claim to the mantle of Reagan, and the Cato Institute, the libertine reactionaries, all on a big offensive this week, using the summer pause, using the winding down, the dearth of news in many areas, to mount a big attack on high-speed rail. Well, we reject their spurious and babbling lunacy against high-speed rail. I've got here the Washington Examiner. This is this reactionary paper which is handed out for free in the D.C. subways. Here we've got Barbara Hollingsworth taking us on a high-speed ride to the poorhouse, and they do admit that the Chinese now have the most advanced high-speed rail in the world. U.S., not exceptional, not number one, but no, these reactionaries, they don't care. The Chinese have got a plan to build $300 billion worth of high-speed rail, 16,000 miles, and they want to build it here in the United States. July 1st, we have the Shanghai-Nanjing high-speed railway, and essentially what these reactionaries are saying, that because of some problems with getting it broken in, basically, right, the first phase of running these things, you got to debug the project. The reactionaries are now raising a hue and cry. The reactionaries are saying that even Obama, with his wretched $8 billion for high-speed rail, primarily Boston to Washington corridor, Northeast corridor, and probably Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, this area, and maybe some stuff in Texas. $8 billion is too much, say the reactionaries. Yeah, they don't want to be taxed for that. They've got private planes. These reactionaries, they have limousines, they have private planes, they have cabin cruisers. They don't want to be taxed so you can get around. They don't want to be taxed because of the urban mass transit. So they're going through this big argument that investments in high-speed rail are uneconomical. Well, dear reactionary friends, let me tell you, we need 50,000 miles of high-speed rail. Maglev should play a big part, high-speed in other areas, and the most modern urban mass transit. Those are conditions of U.S. economic survival. I would always say to these reactionaries, when you write these reports, here they're quoting a report. This was the starting point. They couldn't even do it themselves. It's the Reason Foundation. Oh, don't forget them, along with the other reactionary nests that I mentioned. The Reason Foundation is against the high-speed rail from San Francisco to Los Angeles because there were cost overruns. Yeah, so what? Inflation increases the cost. The answer is build it now, don't wait, and cut through the environmentalists while you're doing it. Back in a minute.